There's a new research study for Crohn's disease, and in this video I'm going to be answering several questions. Who can take part, what is the purpose of the study, and what is the aim of saliva screening? All these answers and more get answered right after the intro. Good day everybody, Raymond here from IBD Life, the home of IBD and ostomies. To stay up to date with my channel, be sure to click subscribe and turn on the notifications. And at the end of this video, if you have liked this video, give it a thumbs up. If not, give it a thumbs down. I think to start off this video, I will explain what the current method of screening for abnormalities in the bowel are. One of the main methods of diagnosing Crohn's disease in patients that is suspected to have it is a lower endoscopy, colonoscopy, or sigmoidoscopy. This involves a visit to a hospital's endoscopy department after abstaining from food and drink for a few hours, and sometimes taking bowel preparations the day before to empty the bowel. After giving consent for the procedure, you may have a small plastic tube placed into a vein, which is an IV/cannula, to receive sedating/relaxing medication. The endoscopy camera involves a thin finger-width tube. This is placed via your back passage into your rectum and large bowel to look for any abnormalities. This is uncomfortable. The procedure involves taking a few small pieces of tissue, biopsies, from abnormal areas of your bowel. This takes an approximately 15 minutes, but may be prolonged depending on the layout of your bowel. Each bowel can vary in size. If any biopsies need to be taken, or if you experience significant discomfort during the procedure, the biopsies are then analysed in the laboratory, and it may take up to 3 weeks before diagnosis is made. There are many alternative ways to diagnose Crohn's disease, but they all involve some form of medical interventions, whether blood or stool samples or a scan of some sort. As you can see, this is quite an invasive test, and in fact, a lot of the tests in regards to Crohn's disease are invasive. So what is the purpose of this study? Well, according to Professor Lavat, the chief investigator of this research, the purpose of the study is to find a quicker and less intrusive and more comfortable way than an endoscopy to identify any abnormalities in the bowel. This could be a big deal to reduce the amount of invasive tests that is needed when trying to diagnose people in the future. This is a massive deal. I cannot express to you just how big this is. If this study proves that they can test just through saliva, generations of the future will not need any endoscopies whatsoever. So what is the aim of saliva screening? Well, past research suggested that human saliva contains traces of diseases that are present elsewhere in the body. So it is believed that analysing a small amount of saliva for these genetic biomarkers will give doctors an idea on which patients are likely to have Crohn's disease, so that only the minority of these patients who are at high risk will need to undergo an endoscopy. The majority of patients who are deemed low risk may no longer need to have an endoscopy or any other medical test. This will clearly save people's time and reduce the risk people take to find out if there is anything wrong with their bowel. They went on to say, we therefore aim to develop a saliva screening test to accurately predict a series of bowel diseases, thereby reducing the number of unnecessary endoscopies performed throughout the UK. This will result in significant financial and health benefits for both the patients and the NHS. So what does the research involve? You will be asked to sign a consent form to indicate that you are willing to participate in the study. You will then complete a simple online questionnaire about yourself, for example, age, gender, smoking status, and your symptoms. For example, changes in your bowel habits. There are 2 questionnaires, but only required to fill in the first form, whilst the second one is optional. So there is no need to do the second one unless you do have the time to do so. They will then send you a saliva sample pot in the post, and you don't need to leave the comfort of your own home to do so. You will need to fast, and they will inform you of how long this will need to go on for. So while you're fasting, you will be asked to spit a small amount of saliva into the test tube. This will take approximately 20 minutes of your time. This is, of course, includes all the questionnaires, your consent forms, and obviously the saliva testing. The saliva sample obtained may be collected systematically, for example, by external contracted, accredited research support companies such as the Doctors Laboratory, which is an independent medically led laboratory. Samples will subsequently be delivered to the laboratory in University College in London. So this is a UK-based research study. The analysis will enable us to confirm whether the genetic markers in your saliva can accurately predict the state of your bowel. Any additional samples that are not needed may be stored for future analysis. Beyond this, our research team will not usually need to involve you in other aspects of the study, and any of your future follow-up appointments will be arranged purely by the main clinical care team. Some patients may be invited to complete further questionnaires or provide saliva, blood, or tissue samples. Future participation in the study will be entirely your choice, and there will be no obligation to continue the study if you do not wish to do so. So the question is, who can take the study? You may have Crohn's disease, which is what I personally have got, or another problem they want to differentiate from, such as ulcerative colitis or inflammatory bowel disease, or you may just be a healthy volunteer. They do need healthy volunteers with this study as well to compare both sides of the saliva test and screening. So what are the possible benefits of taking part? This may not directly help you, but may help any other patients in the future by identifying those at high risk of bowel disease via a quick, cheap, and simple saliva test. This will save significant time and efforts for patients, doctors, and nurses, and will save the NHS and any other healthcare organizations significant amounts of money, but also reduce the amount of waiting time there is for appointments. And of course, it will also reduce the amount of invasive tests that are needed to actually diagnose these diseases. Now, this might not help me, but it may help my children because they are at risk of having inflammatory bowel disease. Or if you're watching and you have an IBD, your children's got it, or your children may have a higher risk of it. This may help them. So by taking part now, you'll be affecting their future. But please note that they will not be able to offer patients any form of compensations for your participation in this study. So there you have all the information you need about this research study, and I urge anyone to participate as long as you live in the UK. I do not know if this is going to be a worldwide research study, but at the moment it is only done here in the UK. So anybody in the UK, if you are watching, I urge you to change people's lives for the future. And if you have found this useful, then please consider subscribing and dropping a like to help spread this video around. And why not check out this video or playlist over here if these are my YouTube short videos. And until next time, stay well, stay safe.